What's up, everybody? Well, hello there, Mr. Chicken Sendies.
How's it going?
How's it going? It is great to have you on the show, sir.
I'm excited to be here, man. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, and you was just telling me just a minute ago that I think this is your first show in the what you call the chicken coop.
Yeah, chicken coop. I think I finally got the internet working out here. So sorry if I cut out. I kind of test dummying you, but I wanted to give her a go finally.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, I'm only in this temporary setup until, well, we're doing a couple moves. One in next month, actually, and then we're in the middle of building a house.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So a very nice 6-bedroom house.
There you go. Well, you got room for me and my kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Come hang out in Arizona.
Well, I put in the new house, I think 18 Cat 6 lines in the house.
That'll do it. Good grief.
And 18 cable lines in the house from the garage to, several of the rooms have the Cat 6 lines. It's a pre-custom home, so you could kind of design it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They have the floor plan layout type deal, and then you just customize it like how you want it.
That's pretty cool then, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. I know a little bit about you from watching you on the Mountain Bike Q&A a couple times. So I know a little bit about you, but people that might watch this, maybe a little bit new audience. So
sure, yeah. So as your video kind of clip that you've been sharing says, I'm Joshua Welling. I reside in the wonderful state of Illinois. My full-time job is I am a paramedic firefighter here in Mattoon, Illinois. Technically a level of an engineer is my title, so an engineer paramedic. Been married to my wife for 9 years. Got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I thought the 5-year-old was more like me, and turns out the 3-year-old's more like me. So I think she's going to be the one that keeps me in trouble. But other than that, I've been kind of doing YouTube off and on for, 4 years, give or take now, and kind of got my start with like budget builds and just kind of buying cheaper bikes and building them up and trying to show people kind of like tutorials, how-tos, but also at the same time be really kind of budget oriented, because not everybody can afford Fox Kashima, and it is what it is. So that's kind of where I got my start, and have just run with it. And I've really enjoyed my time, but pretty down to earth guy, and like to smile a lot and just kind of enjoy my bikes and all the wonderful people it's brought into my life.
And if you watch some of your riding videos, you're kind of laughing a lot on the trails, whether it's with Rich or anybody else.
Oh yeah, Rich is my buddy.
Yeah, just being silly.
That's and one of my favorite things about Rich is he's pushing 60, and he is such a good rider, man. There's if I got Rich in front of me and I'm just following Rich, the amount of stuff that he's taught me is just mind blowing. And he is a terrific guy and a great rider. I'm very fortunate to be able to call him friend. So, and he does a great job at Griffin Bike Park, one of the places I ride a ton over in Terre Haute, Indiana. He's the manager there, and I mean, just the stuff he's brought to the table for our local area is just amazing. It's so impressive, and it's just overall good guy. So,
okay, so just so out here in Arizona, a lot of people. Okay, so say where you're from again.
So I'm from Mattoon, Illinois.
Okay, so relate that to distance from Chicago, because
so we are actually south of Springfield, and a lot of people say anything south of Springfield is Southern Illinois. But total for me to get to Chicago, 2.5 hours, give or take, if I just take the interstate straight north. So not too terribly far. But I'm I'm halfway between the tip of Illinois and Springfield, right in the middle of both of those.
Okay, so you can get So how long does it take you to get over to Indiana then?
So I can get to Indiana in about 40 minutes, like cross the border.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it was the same. Like growing up around South Columbus, we could get over to Indianapolis in hour 20 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, I'm about two and a half from Indianapolis. So
Yeah.
again, not too terribly far, but
Yeah, I just wanted to relate that to like okay, because nobody's gonna know.
no, yeah, no. Especially when you think Illinois, most people just think Chicago, and anything south of Chicago is Southern Illinois.
Yeah, yeah.
That's about how it goes.
And I know you mentioned Griffin Bike Park, and I know you've done some videos there. Um, Tell me about that.
So Griffin Bike Park was kind of a really weird situation when I got started riding. I've got local trails around me, but nothing like Griffin Bike Park. Being Illinois and Indiana, everything's pretty flat. We're very cross country. But Griffin Bike Park has found a terrific way to use like basically old strip mines and use the giant craters, so to speak, that they made in the land while they were mining to help them with the elevation and create almost like a roller coaster effect in the sense of their trails. So you may have some climbs, but as you climb, typically you have a really fun downhill swoopy part as well.
Yeah, a little
But
bit undulating then.
yeah, and Griffin's done a great job about having something for everybody. We were hitting a feature there today called El Drapo, and it's probably one of the biggest features like in the local area. It was built by Tyler McCall, who rides for Red Bull. They actually flew him in to build this trail, and he designed the trail Foxtrot that it's on, and he built this drop and everything. And it's about a 6.5 foot tall drop that's about 8 to 9 foot wide. So I mean, it's pretty intimidating. But like you can't get that kind of stuff around here. So having stuff like that at Griffin is just absolutely wild that we can have features like that around here. So that's one of the biggest things for me, just the fact that not only can I ride Griffin and work on endurance and just base skills, they have stuff that's going to push your limits as well. I mean, it's just this buffet of bike stuff, and it's awesome. And Rich does a terrific job out there. It's just so impressive.
Nice, nice. Is there any other like trails that are close to you that you can get to pretty quick?
Yeah, so I have really two different local trails. One I use quite a bit for like ride reviews and stuff because it's about a 10-15 minute drive for me. There's a pretty big college here called Eastern Illinois, and it's in Charleston, Illinois, which is like 10 miles from where I live. But they have a sister city trail that goes around a lake there, and it's kind of like a mixture of like gravel, but then you also have some real fun just dirt trails and single track. So that's one of the closest ones. And another one I have is called Camp Canfield. That one's about 25 minutes away, and it goes around Lake Shelbyville. So you still get some really cool sightings and scenes, that a lot of people don't really see on the Illinois side. They think just corn. So it's pretty cool to go out there and just, see the real pretty just water, and the shimmer and all that fun stuff. And it's like it's about 25 minutes, and that's about like all cross country. Like if I want to get out and just burn calories, I go there and just ride real hard.
So I'm kind of trying to picture. I should have looked it up on Trailforks before coming on, but
Oh, no worries.
so the so what type of trails are like cross country, but more like green, blue type?
Yeah. So, and even like Griffin Bike Park, they have black trails there. But one of the nice things about Griffin is every feature has a ride around. So
Yeah.
you don't have to hit a single feature there. So I guess they wouldn't be like true blacks in the sense of a lot of other locations, but they still have the really good features. The local trails are very cross country. There's a couple little like drops and things that are like rooty due to like erosion and whatnot over the years, but they're just very cross country. And honestly, that's probably why I can ride decently in the sense of endurance, just because that's really all I have around me. So if I go out and ride for an hour, it's just pedaling.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we have a elevation here, but it's not all downhill. It's a lot of rocky downhill with a lot of rocky uphill.
Yeah, I know you guys
Yeah.
got some technical climbs for sure.
Yeah,
Good grief.
yeah. Real technical climbs. I mean, some of it like you're walking, like unless you're like
Just no doubt about it.
beast, yeah, you're walking. So tell me about like how your YouTube channel got started and just pretty much the evolution of from where you were to where you are now.
Yeah. So whenever I got started, so my very first mountain bike was a GT Aggressor Pro. Like 5 years ago or so, like this was the budget bike to buy and build, right? And I never did any videos on that. I had bought the camera, but never did anything. I was kind of being shy about it. And I was just like, what's the point? I don't, I didn't have time to do it necessarily. And I just finally decided, so to speak, to bite the bullet and just start uploading. And I learned pretty quick that it was a very slow endeavor. And I remember breaking my first 100 like subscribers. And I mean, like, it was one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah.
But it almost became an addiction because I was like checking daily. I was like, how many subs do I have? And it's pretty cool.
And when you're like that low, it's like you could go to like 101 to like back to 99.
No, absolutely. I always struggled with like the 60 to 70 number. I'd go to like 68 or 7, then drop back down to 62, and I'd be like, "What'd I do wrong? Like, who did I upset?" You know. But
and you just never know, like,
Oh no, it is what it is. But one of the best things that I've enjoyed about like even like where I've started, I try as hard as I can to respond to every comment. I may have missed a couple due to family things and whatnot, but I just try really hard to make sure I'm responding and being active. But just starting out, like doing so many just budget bills and just having so much fun with that and trying to help other people, like have the best way to spend money. And because sometimes you just your paycheck's tight, but at the same time I think it's okay to have an activity, to want to have fun. And I wanted to be a channel to kind of help guide people what would be the best way to spend their money so they're not wasting money on parts or upgrades they may not necessarily need. But I've kind of evolved now into the where I have these budget builds, but now I have some pretty decent expensive builds. So I kind of have a true comparison now to be able to be like, listen, I have this GX Axis wireless shifting and it works terrific. But if you don't have the money, this is a really good budget option. It may not be wireless, but it's going to work good. It's going to get you up climbs. And the evolution of just being able to realistically compare, budget and expensive parts has been really fun for me. And I like to think most of the mountain biking community appreciates it. And because like I said, not everybody could afford those fancy gold parts.
Well, yeah, and just look at like an entry level full suspension, just the price of that, like,
Oh yeah.
2 years ago,
Sticker shock.
even when I got back into like more modern mountain biking, it's the same story. Like everybody hears over and over. It's like, $1,000 should get you something. Like, no.
They're like, well, that $200 bike at Walmart's not good enough.
Yeah. And you hear the same story over and over. Like, oh, I got this like nice $300 mountain bike from Walmart. It's like, well, maybe, but maybe not.
You're talking green trails.
Yeah. Don't get off the bunny trail.
No, and then you pick it up and you realize that coil spring fork weighs 8 pounds. You're like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's why, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, all those Walmart downhill double black diamond trail videos were so popular.
They were so fun to watch, man. And actually, one of the ones that they did was my very first Walmart bike.
Oh, yeah.
He went down on it, and I was so proud of myself. I went to a Walmart, and I got the most expensive bike they had, and I was like, this is it. This is going to get me into the sport. I had disc brake in the front and rear B brakes.
And you see like some of them, like they don't even get like a half a mile and parts start just flying off, brakes don't work.
So I broke the saddle the very first ride on it. I went down a hill and like I mean obviously had zero skill on a bike and like curved off and went flying off a bridge into a tree. And like thankfully I was okay. But my bud that was with me was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm just like laying there, like I think I'm okay. That was my expensive bike.
Safety gear on. Because when you're first starting out, like, you might have like the cheapest safety gear that, that you got at Walmart as well.
Honestly. Walmart, and then you start doing the research and you're like, oh, an entry bike's $600?
Yeah. And that, for $700 for a hardtail,
Yeah. Like, oh man, I was way off. So I had to go explain to my wife why I needed to buy a nicer bike.
Yeah. Well, I kind of was smart with that. I got my wife, a full suspension entry level before I even got mine.
Yeah.
So I got hers first.
Well, that's what a lot of people say to do if you want to get your wife into it. Spend the money on the wife so she gets into it and likes it.
Yeah. So we went for a ride today. We've gone about quite a bit in the last 30 days. I've done about 23 rides, and she's done about 20 with me.
That's great. That's terrific, especially
Yeah.
since she gets to enjoy it with you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she likes sticking to like the more green trails, maybe some blues, but yeah,
Yeah.
but we have a lot of trail systems out here in Tucson, and where we live, we basically one trail system we can ride from the house straight to the trails,
Well, that's awesome, man.
and then another one we just 5-minute drive, and we were at the trailhead this afternoon right before this. We're like, hey, we'll get in like an hour ride before we come back and do the podcast. And so, but yeah, I got it for her birthday. Well, we had some like older, like kind of chintzy hardtails. Kind of started out on that out here, and then you start seeing like once we moved to Tucson, you start seeing like, oh, these people have nice bikes, nice trails, and you just kind of you get to know like from meeting people like, oh, okay, like this is a good bike or that's not a good
Yeah.
bike, or like what should you ride, and then like maybe 6 months of riding out here, I'm going down Mount Lemon, which is basically mostly double black diamond trails and
Oh, gee, yeah.
and black diamond trails. And it's one of those things that you see videos on. It's like, hey, I live right close to here. And I think the first video I saw on it was BCPOV, I think, did a video on the partial lemon drop riding. I think it was Bug Springs to Milagrosa, which is pretty much black diamond, double black diamond trails. Thinking, oh, I can do that. Get out there. That was way over my head, but I'm good with it now. Like we're up there like every weekend and stuff now. I'm going to say hi to the chat real quick.
Oh, go for it. You're good.
Yeah.
It looks like it's popping off.
Yeah. So Johnny, I see you're in here. Maddie, I see you're in here. Mike, how you guys doing? Oh, and the missus in here. She has a not so fun thing with rattlesnakes out here.
Oh no.
Yeah, so there's and since we had quite a bit of rain in the spring, wintertime, so there's a lot of overgrown brush right now.
Okay.
And a lot of areas that normally is just dead desert.
Oh yes, so they're all probably hiding, aren't they?
Yeah, the snakes are out there kind of hiding right now. Yeah, so she's like not happy with, and just the fact that maybe about 4 or 5 days ago, and she always makes me go first on the trail
because she loves you.
Yeah. Sure enough, I tell her, hey, stop. I literally ran over a snake, right? Like right before she got there.
It's oops.
She's like, that's it. I'm out.
He's like, luckily, we don't really got to deal with snakes too bad here, but man, the ticks. Holy cow, the ticks.
Yeah.
Good grief.
For 1 year, we had ticks out here and not sure where they came from. It's kind of rare, at least areas I go to. We don't really have too many ticks. Not like, back home, because we don't have a lot of vegetation out here. I mean, it is the desert. I mean, it's more vegetation than you think, but it's not like overgrown vegetation. And like I said, in the summertime, like things will start to die out because it's 115 degrees.
Yeah. We were, I shared with you a little bit ago that I was riding a Griffin this morning, and man, it like the gnats. I had never seen the gnat. Like I probably had 2 or 3 fly into my eyeball. Like I was getting annoyed. I was like, what is happening right now? It was crazy the amount of little gnats that were just flying around. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we was up yesterday up on Mount Lemon riding Bigelow Trail, and the flies were just all over us up there. We've never experienced that before.
It's so random.
Yeah, it was kind of random. I don't know. Like, well, there's been more people like camping out there.
Okay.
Maybe that brought them in, but yeah, it was this ridiculous amount of flies. So we usually like hang out for like 5-10 minutes at the trailhead. We're like, we gotta go. Like these flies are like
It's done. We're done.
Keep riding. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, right now we got those crazy cicadas all hatching, and it's like
Oh
the cicada swarm of the century. So we got the crazy red-eyed looking ones, and like two of them
yeah.
hatching together that never hatched together. And my sister sent me a video of her house yesterday, and she probably like the little cicada shells. There was like 50 to 100 on her porch that had
Oh,
hatched. It was
dang.
wild. I was like, holy cow! I'm glad they don't bite.
Yeah, and the cicadas, it's just more the noise.
Yeah, they're just annoying. They're just annoying little creatures. But I could. She showed me the video. I was like, holy cow! Like there was just on her porch that had just the empty shells. I'm like, wowza! So they're coming.
Yeah, I remember back home when I lived back in Ohio, we had, at that time, whatever species that was hatches every 17 years or so.
Yeah.
It it was bad that year. They were same thing. They were like everywhere. It looked like the apocalypse happening.
Oh, it's wild, man.
Yeah. So you're a firefighter, right?
Yeah, that's the rumor.
So mountain biking, I guess, helps you stay in a little bit of shape for that.
Oh, for sure. We joke around about it. So obviously, the better cardio you have, the longer you can last on an air bottle. And I'm
Yeah.
not exactly super large by any means, so I can get into small spaces too. So typically, if I'm on the line, they say put Josh on the nozzle, and if anything happens, we'll just drag him out.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say Josh could be the first one in and the last one out since he can last long on a bottle.
Yeah.
So it kind of works out. That's when I'm not pumping the truck.
Yeah. And especially with all the cross country riding out there. I mean,
Oh yeah, and it's actually kind of interesting. We've been up north. We have a place called Chestnut Mountain. It's actually around Chicago, and it's a ski lift access, like ski and snowboard park. But last year they just opened it up for mountain bike trails.
oh, wow.
For being in Illinois, it's pretty stinking good. Like
Oh,
it's pretty fun. It's maybe like from the top to the bottom, 15 minutes, 10-15 minute ride down, give or take. But
yeah.
it's pretty fun, and you just take the ski lift back up. So I mean, we legit have a ski lift access park in Illinois, which a lot of people would never believe that.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I would have thought. I mean,
Well, it's awesome. Yeah,
Here in
we'll get an
Arizona,
Airbnb and make a weekend of it.
yeah, here in Arizona, we only have one lift access bike park here in Arizona. Now we can go over to New Mexico to Angel Fire, and there's several parks, of course.
Gosh, I want to hit those places so bad.
Yeah, so over in California, where we're at, Snow Summit, Snow Valley, Sky Park, all within 8-9 hours or so.
Jeez.
Angel Fire is about 10 hours. So it's 3-day weekend type deal. Airbnb. Although sometimes we will go out there and just find a forest road and just camp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun though. Those are parks as of right now. I'm only going to be able to live like vicariously through you guys, because that's the sad part. Like that's like a 24-hour drive for me. Like I'd have to fly for sure.
Yeah. Out here on the West Coast, not really on the coast here, but it's might as well be. We're fortunate both in Phoenix and especially in Tucson. We have a 9,000 foot mountain here in Tucson, so
That's wild.
yeah. And then if you get on trail forks, whatever, you'll see, like, you'll pan out and there's just trail systems everywhere out here. Even
Yeah.
lower trails have some elevation, and double black diamond trails, just even off the mountain. It's because everything out here is just jagged rock.
Yeah.
So you're just climbing up and down, and yeah.
That's pretty wild for sure. My wife's family moved to Vegas about 4 or 5 years ago. So we were in Vegas not too long ago visiting them, and we went to Cali and stuff. But of course, it was for family stuff, and just seeing the mountains and the ridges and stuff. I was like, this place would be so stinking fun to ride.
Yeah. It's not, we got all kind of scenic views out here, and then of course, like out here, we're very fortunate where legitimately we can ride about 340 days a year out here.
Yeah,
There might be 20-25 days where you can't because of rain, weather. We don't like to ride in the rain out here because it does really like rut up the trails real bad here because like, there's no drainage and it's just something we don't like to do because it does really tear up the trails out here. So we try not to do that. But so like, okay, you might only have like 20-25 days. So like, you know, and even then, like it never goes more than like 2 or 3 days to where you can't ride. Not like back there, like I'm sure like it's months and months, you know.
Oh yeah, and it's kind of wonky because you got like a good amount of time when you can ride, of course, but when it's winter time and the trails are blue, so when the trails are blue, it's freeze or thaw. So if they're frozen, you can ride. But the issue is once the sun hits the trails, they turn to soup. I mean, like you're sinking half an inch into the trail, so you got to be real careful because if you start riding in that condition, I mean, you're just destroying the trails. So a lot of trail etiquette around here for sure.
Yeah, and same here. But, you know, and sometimes people just do make the mistake of like getting on the trails a little bit too early. So there are a couple trails locally that we ride are a little bit rutted up right now, and I think it's just because it's kind of deceiving because you'll start to ride because the sun will come out here and everything will dry up in like a couple hours. But you get into those like few shady spots we do have out here, and then that's where the like ruts form because like people start on the trail like, oh, it's dry right here. And you can ride for a couple miles, like, oh, you hit like a little shady area. The 2 or 3 we have out here on the lowers, and oh man, like that part of the trail get rutted up, but it's not too bad.
Good. We got of course, we do the trail statuses around here, so we have the green, yellow, and red. And man, if we get a good rain, it'll be red for a couple days, like 2 or 3 days, and then it'll go yellow. So there's still soupy spots you got to walk and whatnot. But so far this year's been pretty good. We've had a couple rains, but I've probably been able to ride at least 2 times a week so far. So it's been a pretty mild year so far. But now we got the nice storms rolling in and stuff. So see how that goes for us.
With our weather being so good right now, like I said, in the last 30 days, I've done like 23 days of that was right. I think I've missed 7
That's awesome, man.
7 or 8 days at the most, not riding. So, because the weather's been nice, I've been like, I was off from riding for almost like, I did like maybe 2 or 3 rides in like 6 months, not because of the weather, it's just life. And
oh yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And so you did say you have a couple kids, right?
Yeah, I do. Yep. I got a 3-year-old named Piper and a 5-year-old named Elsie. So they definitely keep me busy, but I love it. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite things is being a father.
You got them on the Strider bikes yet?
Oh, of course. I've already passed the one Strider down to the 3-year-old now, and Elsie's on her little trek that she has. So she's shredding away at the pump track and all that fun stuff. It's been a fun year, honestly, for me. And what I really like a lot is since we do have more cross-country style trails, of course, with the style of like, you know, work I do, I'm gone for 24 hours at a time. So when I get home in the morning, I'll be like, hey, Marley, how are you feeling? You know, and either she's good or not, I'll be like, all right, cool. I'm going to steal Piper because Elsie's in school. I'm going to go ride bikes with her for a while. And I'll put her on my Mac ride and be gone for 2 hours so Marley can relax. And then I get an extra, 30 pounds on the bike for better training. Then we're gone. And I asked Piper, I go, hey, Piper, you want to go on a daddy-daughter date?
She's like, heck yeah.
And then we go get ice cream afterwards because we deserve
it. And speaking of your wife, she's been nice enough. I've seen her in a few of your videos, just being silly.
Oh yeah. So funny story for you. I don't share this like with a ton of people because I'm more of like typically a listener and just like, never like super in depth about me. But my wife and I actually met on musical theater scholarships. Fun fact. So whenever we were in college, we were both on the exact same musical theater scholarship, and she was with a group of friends, and they were showing pictures of me, and no one knew me. I was from a different area that got on the scholarship. So like, oh, who's this guy? And basically Marley goes, I don't know, but I called dibs on him. So straight up. So she called dibs on me, and 6 years later we got married, and we've been together. We've been married now 9 years. So I guess it worked out okay.
And she just popped up in the chat, by the way.
Oh, did she? Hey, blushing wife here. She definitely puts up with a lot, but it's fun. I love the fact that she's willing to tag along and do fun stuff with me, and it's pretty awesome.
Nice. Yeah, and between that and you doing playing the kind of multiple roles in your YouTube videos, like you throwing stuff at you. It's pretty funny, man.
Those are probably some of the hardest videos to catch or to
Yeah.
do. But and it's so like I never write like I talk to a lot of other YouTubers and different like chats and stuff, and a lot of them do scripts and whatnot. And maybe that would take my videos to like different levels, like for like the actual video reviews and stuff. But I've never done scripts for my actual YouTube videos, but I write scripts for my shorts.
Oh,
So
okay.
so like in my head, I'm having this conversation with myself.
Yeah, right.
As I'm like, all right, but I have like the rude Josh and like the nice Josh is like what I try to go for.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and like
But
the room is always
it's
like
fun. I
fun.
love doing that stuff. I think it's hysterical.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
But
Yeah, and then the whole YouTube thing. So how long ago did you start?
so about 3 or 4 years now. I think I'm coming up to the 4 year mark.
Okay, well, pretty good. I mean, you're almost at 5,000, right?
Yeah, actually, I was like 80-ish away from 5,000 this morning. And I was like, when did that happen?
Yeah.
It's pretty humbling. I mean, and like the crazy thing for me is like now every now and then, like I'll have some companies reach out to me, like Tannis Armor sent me. Actually, I'm wearing their shirt right now, but
Yeah.
like Tannis Armor sent me some stuff. Anomaly mountain bike shoes found out I did a review and they reached. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I love that, and like I don't do this for like a side job. I just enjoy it. It's fun for me. It's a hobby, and it's just something I truly love doing. And seeing kind of like fruition happen from what I've been doing. It's really cool. It's just an awesome experience for me. And I've met some amazing people. And that's probably the best part that like over mountain biking, not only has it got me in like a better, healthy living and mindset just because it's exercise, which is terrific for you, but I have made some wonderful friends who have done some really great things. I know he was commenting a second ago, but Run Bike Mike, terrific individual. Johnny, I mean, he's up on the screen right now. I feel like I'm cheating on Johnny, by the way, because I've only ever done live feeds with him. So, or the chats.
Yeah.
So
Well,
hopefully Johnny doesn't divorce me.
yeah. No. I think Johnny's be all right. Johnny be
He's
all
a
right.
good dude.
Yeah, he is a very good dude. Amazing podcast. Great interview. Oh, your job. What does your coworkers do? They know about your YouTube channel, and if they do, what do they think about it?
So they do, and it's a mixture because it's a fire department, right? So
Yeah.
like they're either like giving me a hard time or they're laughing with me at it. It's usually one of the two. But the thing is, it's extremes, right? Like I'm either getting bullied
Yeah,
or they're having fun over the videos I've done. So, but it's
yeah.
pretty cool, and I'd
It's
honestly
bro-
like to get some of them into my videos, but a lot of the Polygon bikes and different bike reviews that I've done, they've actually purchased bikes because of like my channel, and we ride together and whatnot, which is it was really cool because as a fire department and even in EMS, you become like a brotherhood, right? You're working 24 hours with these guys. You're with them a lot of your life, so being able to have some stuff outside of work in common to be able to hang out and stuff just to kind of keep that mutual respect, but also like healthy relationship because you want to be in good like just with them because you're with them all the time. So it's cool to be able to do that kind of stuff with them on the side as well. And I love the fact a lot of them are riding bikes now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's also good that you have that activity and not necessarily have to talk about work. You could talk about trails and bikes.
Yep.
And kind of like get away from that pretty probably stressful work scene sometimes.
It depends. It really does, especially it's hit and miss. I've done EMS for around 9 years now, give or take. I've been on the fire side for a little over 3 years now. And it is an entirely different dynamic, right? Whether you're fighting, car fires, house fires, or just EMS calls, it's just, you just never know. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I like it. But at the same time, it's one of the reasons where it's like, all right, what's going to happen today?
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine you've seen and done, in your career, probably some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I've definitely have seen and done things I wish upon no one. That is for sure. But I'm just thankful that I'm in a position to be able to help to the best of my ability. And I always joke around with a lot of people. I say I have a 10 out of 10 bedside manner. My medic skills is like a 6 out of 10, like I'm okay. It's like, listen, we're having issues, but I'm gonna make you laugh while we're back here.
Yeah. And anybody in the chat like has a question for Josh, just pop it up in the chat. and you got some fans here, especially like you was talking about, the Polygon stuff that you've been doing lately.
Yeah, they've so graciously sent me a bike, and I believe Run Bike Mike had some to do with that too, which was really cool of him to kind of go up to bat for me. But yeah, they sent me a really nice full suspension to test and review out, which was really awesome of them. And I don't know, like when you look at Polygon bikes, and honestly, like a lot of people dog on direct to consumer, but there's been a lot of companies that have now gone to direct to consumer. And I am by no means telling you not to shop local bike shop. I 100% respect you if to support them, and I even support mine with buying parts and things like that. But man, when you look at the price of what Polygon's bringing to the table for what you're getting in that box,
Yeah,
it's pretty impressive. It truly is.
well, it's just like anything in business here, you have to adapt and do what you can, from what your competitors do, and just
Yeah.
to keep your business going. So you might have to adapt, and those businesses did adapt to direct to consumer because I saw the market for it. And nothing than the local bike shop, they have their things that they can supply you as well.
Oh, for sure.
But in my opinion, they both can coexist
Oh, for
because
sure.
it's just business. That's just the way
And
it is.
in my opinion, it's definitely two different demographics as well. You have the demographic of like the people who potentially want to work on their own bikes and upgrade their own bikes and that kind of a thing. And then you have the people who want a bike to ride and that's it. And they don't want to, they want to take it to the shop, let them work on it, fix it if anything goes wrong. And they just want so to speak, an arrow in the quiver that is good to go. And they don't want to, deal with it at all. So it's definitely, if you go to a local bike shop, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get ideally great customer support where if anything goes wrong, they'll help you, take care of you, and that kind of a thing. And you don't want to watch a bunch of park tool videos or how-tos to fix it yourself.
Yeah, I save a lot of time. I'm probably about once every other week at my bike shop, a mechanic that takes care of a lot of my stuff that would take me it would take me like an hour. He does in like 10-15 minutes.
Yep.
And it's worth like the 15-minute drive to me sometimes.
Oh, for sure. Especially when it comes to suspension. Sometimes suspension's a little bit like hard to mess with. And even like micro adjusting your shifting, like some people don't want to touch it. And if you do it wrong just a little bit, it's way worse than it was a second ago.
Yeah, so I have the wireless shifter that I always have him adjust because he has one, has been running one forever. It takes me forever to get it. And 5 minutes, like he has mine like dialed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whenever I did one of those Polygon videos, and it was the one I put Rich on the bike, I was riding his Trek Remedy, and he has Axis on his, and he's like, I don't know why it's shifting so bad. And while we were riding it, I was micro adjusting it. If you hold the bottom button on the shifter itself, you can micro adjust it actually. So I was micro adjusting it while we were riding and got it shifted perfect for him. And he's like, did you really just fix my shifting? I go, yeah, you're welcome. It was so funny, man. He was dying. He's like, well, I appreciate you fixing my bike. I go, I appreciate you helping me review this one.
Nice.
But it was pretty good.
With your channel kind of growing, you find that more companies are starting to reach out to you for, to help support you a little bit?
So yes and no. And it's kind of interesting because I'm not like, I'll be 34 in July, right? So I'm like in that really weird age group of like between Facebook and Instagram in the sense of like where I fall. Like I had MySpace in high school. But it's funny how many companies reach out to me over Instagram, which is, the interesting thing. So I've learned like when I do like product reviews or anything like that, I'll usually share clippets on Instagram with links to the video on YouTube, and then I tag the company. And like, I'm never really looking for anything necessarily, but like, that's how Anomaly reached out to me. That's actually how Tannis Armor originally reached out to me as well, was from an entirely different video. And they're like, hey, we want to send you some inserts for you. I'm like, yeah, awesome. And, Polygon, a lot of the stuff that we do through Bikes Online is all through Instagram almost, the way, the group of us all talk and whatnot. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to me how Instagram is like typically how the companies reach out to you. So,
Yeah,
but no,
just because
it seems like when I got to that like 3,500 to 4,000 mark is when companies were like, hey, we want you to try this or this, that kind of a thing. And
Yeah.
I'd say most of the stuff that's been sent to me has been really good stuff. And there's only ever been one time where a company sent me something and like it wasn't good, you know. And I try to be a real positive, upbeat person, and like I didn't want to necessarily review something that I didn't think that like I would buy myself. So I explained to them nicely like what happened, and they were super, nice about it and everything and understanding. But I was just kind of like, yeah, this one, I don't think this one's gonna work out for me, guys, and I'm really sorry. But
Yeah,
no,
that's rough because, like, you know, what do you do? You know, they're like reaching out to you because they see value in what you do and what you can provide. And then, you know, if they just don't have a solid product, then that's all you could do is be like, no, sorry.
and I like to think hopefully mine was just faulty, maybe kind of a scenario. But I don't know. And yeah, the gentleman that was talking to me through email was really nice about it. But I'd say most of the time they're all very nice. But I'd probably say 80 to 90% of the content I actually make is stuff that I've purchased myself and spent my own money on. So
Yeah.
I kind of take some pride in that as well, in the sense, this is my real honest review. And I kind of am like, I enjoy biking almost to a fault. So like, even if it's not like super fun, like I'll make it fun because that's just the kind of person I am. Life's short, enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, how many bikes do you currently have?
So now you're asking hard questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and at one point I was up to about 13.
Ooh.
I think I'm down to 7 or 8 now.
Okay.
And I just actually purchased a new bike for a budget. It's a budget gravel bike, and I'm going to do some fun videos on that and whatnot. So I'm excited over that. But I've kind of been able to like slim down the quiver to like specific bikes. So every bike I have has a very specific purpose. So Johnny was actually talking about earlier, but I have a fat bike and I ride the fat bike in the snow, right? That's
Yeah. Yeah.
what I'm in Illinois. Then I have my dirt jumper. I have my single speed. So like when I'm just really not happy with myself and hate my life, I'll ride the single speed. Uh, most of the time you'll see me on my actual, my binary maniac, my titanium hardtail. And there was a video I did once and I was riding a hardtail at a downhill park and someone said something to me. I'm like, well, hardtails are dumb, but I was on a hardtail.
Yeah.
And like, so now like our saying is, Josh, I thought hardtails were dumb. And I'm like, they are dumb, but that's typically all I ride. I just love hardtails and they're so fun for me. And, I've had the real nice full suspensions. One of my very first full suspension was a really nice Canyon. Absolutely loved that bike. And I just have always gone back to hardtails. But
Yeah.
I have a couple different bikes now that I use for various reasons, and it's kind of cool to have a bike for every specific situation. I don't really recommend everybody to have 8 bikes, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to, so it's kind of nice.
Well, here's a question for you. If you have a full suspension, you lock out the rear suspension, do you now have a hardtail?
Yes, until you blow the rear shock on accident. That's the issue. You lock it for climbs and then you forget to unlock it for the down. And you're like, man, that felt real rough.
So many times. I'm like,
And then,
why?
and I would honestly say I probably switched to a full suspension way sooner than I should have. And whenever I switched back to hardtails, I like really have improved my riding because like if you pick a poor line or you do something bad, you did it because you don't have that extra, oops in the rear suspension. You definitely feel it, but
bucking you off.
been there, done that. I'm almost kind of hesitant when I ride full suspensions now. Like I turn the rear suspension to like really slow because I don't want to get bucked on accident.
Yeah. So another part of you is skateboarding.
Yeah, I like to pretend I can do that.
A lot of your posts, especially on IG, is some skateboarding.
Yeah, so I've been skateboarding way longer than I've been mountain biking. I started skateboarding, which we were joking about it, about the time I may have taken that sign from somewhere. So I'm talking years ago. Yeah. It just happened to fall in my possession somehow. But I think it was around 7th grade when I started skateboarding, and it's kind of been an on and off thing for me, but I can get to the skate park in like 3 minutes. The skate park's right here in town, and it's really fun for me just to kind of throw down the camera and just get a couple clips, because I'm by no means professional when it comes to skateboarding, but like I'm okay. Like I enjoy it and it's fun, and but I can go and skateboard and be back home within an hour, no problem. Whereas like if I go on a bike ride on 2.5, 3 hours, at the minimum, the shortest. So
Yeah, yeah.
but I love skateboarding. It's just another hobby I have, and it's fun to get the girls out there on their little skateboards and bikes riding around the park as well. So
Hey, mediocre mountain biker.
how was that, buddy? How are you, Jason?
He's out in your way too.
Yeah, we actually got to, speaking of Chestnut Mountain, him and I got to ride that last year together. He's a good dude. I like his little rubber chicken he takes places. It makes me smile.
And one of the reasons I know it too is because he comes out here. I think he has some roots out here in Arizona somewhere. Because I see him riding South Mountain, Phoenix. I see him out here from time to time. I see a video he'll do out here, and it'll pop up on my feed. He's like, "Oh, he's out here in Arizona."
Yeah, he's a good dude. I was really glad I got to ride with him finally, because and it's one of those things, when you have kids and a family, it's sometimes hard to try to plan stuff out. So whenever we finally got to ride together, it was really nice.
Nice. Sorry, the
puppy.
At my feet, and the other dog's at my feet too. That was Blanca. And here, let me see if I can get. And this is Diego.
I think all my puppies are in the house with my wife currently.
There you go. Yeah, they were at my feet, just looking at me like, attention.
Just say, keeping your feet warm.
Yeah.
Who needs slippers when you have dogs?
Right. I was going to ask too about the YouTube. Do you see a shift I've seen a shift in YouTube, particularly when it comes to outdoor activity like mountain biking, where videos a few years ago, say like, you look at your videos from like 3 years ago to now, you see like, you're a better YouTuber for sure. 100%. But like those videos from like 3 years ago got so many views, probably because of the lockdowns, right?
Oh yeah.
And so is that frustrating? I mean, it has to be a little frustrating, right?
So honestly, the craziest thing to me is like I try to never have expectations for any video. I've learned I could put hours into a video and get 200 views. And then I can make a 6-minute video over Walmart shirts and shorts that I think is just something interesting because that's what I wear to ride it. And it gets thousands of views.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just try to enjoy it and respond to comments, and I just throw up videos.
And you still have videos out there doing really, really well.
Oh, and it's kind of interesting to go back and to scroll through some of those and just to see. But, when I first started, all I had was a GoPro. That's all I used. I used a GoPro, so the lighting was terrible. And, it is what it is at the end of the day for that kind of stuff. But, I've got a nice little Sony camera I use now and some lights. And I try to use a lapel mic for, better talking and whatnot. But I don't know. It is kind of cool. And it's kind of weird because I'll catch myself like watching my old videos every now and then. And I'm like, ooh, that really wasn't that good. And then, you are your own worst critic, right? And so like I destroy myself over these old videos. And anymore, like after I make a video, I have Marley sit down and watch. I'm like, hey, watch this and tell me what you think before I upload it, because her background and how we met, but also at the same time, she doesn't care really much about biking. So if she finds it semi-entertaining, hopefully bikers will.
Yeah. And I feel you too, because I've spent 30 hours on an edit, doing something pretty good. And then you do a 4-minute POV video and that's all it is. And that POV video.
Oh yeah. And I love POV videos. I love making POV videos. I also love making ASMR videos, like just me putting a bike together. But view-wise, I never really do that good. So I've kind of gotten away from them. But they're like my favorite type to do. So I should just do them but I know I try to appease to the people who do watch the channel. Mm-hmm. So I try to be, stay true to what I do, but every now and then I'll throw stuff out there just because I like to do it. So I get a little selfish, but it is my channel, right? I mean,
Yeah. Do you see Johnny's question right here?
oh, I would say the first year I was at Matt Toon Fire was the hardest I had ever had any kind of creativity issues between going to Fire Academy. Piper was just born. And one weekend we had Piper. Marley had Piper. I had to pack our entire house. We sold the house that weekend. We moved. It was a rough year for me, like really bad. And there was probably a solid 6 to 8 month period where I didn't upload at all. And I don't know if I'd say it was necessarily burnout, but I will say it was just like I had zero motivation to do stuff. And so far this year, I've been like, last year was okay, but this year, like, I'm feeling really good about content and doing things. And, just seeing the channel grow is exciting me. And I don't know, I don't want to necessarily say a new fire, so to speak, but yeah, I mean, doing this for, a couple years, it's hard, but thankfully new technology comes out for bikes and I love toying around and, it's there's always content. I can get on Amazon and just type in mountain bike and just see what happens and buy stuff and review things and whatnot. But I think the creative side of shorts is the hardest because I really like making the funny videos and whatnot. But at the same time, those are the ones that like take the longest to think of and to like kind
Yeah.
of perfect basically. But typically when it comes to recording them, 20 minutes tops, they're edited and everything. I mean, they're pretty quick to do, but it's just coming up with the idea to actually make them.
Yeah, and I've never really got into that part of it, which I probably will at some point. Same thing. Mediocre mountain biker saying here he took a break last year. It's so much work for little views sometimes, and it is.
Yeah.
You do like a 30-hour edit, and you get maybe 100 views on.
Oh yeah, it's pretty disheartening, and I mean, especially for the ones that like maybe do this for a livelihood, and man, it's difficult. So I'm very fortunate for what I do for a living. Even though I work 24-hour shifts, when I get home, I'm off for 2 days. So I'm home quite a bit, roughly 5 days a week. I'm typically home, but now that time's filled with spending time with Marley and the daughters, and it's that balance because there's a work-life balance, and YouTube is a hobby for me, and the last thing I ever want Marley to think or feel, or even my daughters, is, hey, you're spending a lot of time on that YouTube, and and I don't ever want her to feel that way. So I try really hard to make sure she's okay with what I'm doing. And even there's days I'll schedule like, hey, I'm going to be in the coop for 2 hours today to record a video, so just a heads up, and get the okay and stuff. But the biggest concern for me is just making sure Marley's okay with what I do, because I respect, appreciate, and love my wife. So
yeah, and that's awesome that she does that, or like she's okay with it.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So there was something else I was going to ask you, and it like slipped my mind, and I'll think of it here in a second. I was just checking in with the chat.
Oh, no worries. I'm seeing it pop up. I have my iPad here, so I cheat every now and then. That's why I keep looking in the corner.
So what video and like cameras and gear are you using now compared to what?
So my camera I use is I believe it's a Sony ZV-1. Johnny can actually comment for sure on this because he just purchased one because he asked me what. Yeah, thing is terrific for the price, man.
Yeah.
Like, love it. So yeah. Oh, for the money and for the picture quality, absolutely love it. I purchased the here, actually give me 1 second. It's right here too.
Yeah, I'm showing my Sony ZV-1 camera.
So I purchased the wide the wide lens mod on mine.
Okay.
And it's literally just like double-side sticky taped on. Like it was just like an Amazon special lens, but it's just really nice because it just makes it a little bit more wide, so it doesn't look so selfie necessarily, like for what I'm recording in the coop. This little booger is terrific, man. Like, talk about bang for buck camera equipment. This thing is awesome.
The only thing is, maybe I don't know the settings, is the image stabilization in it is not great.
See, and that's when I switched back to my GoPro, my Insta360s.
But here, I'll do another camera angle here. Is it this one? Oh, no. This one, I think. So right back there is it's a gimbal.
See, that looks expensive. like I'm getting super close to this because it's on my phone.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the other camera here.
You know, that's the other thing when you get into YouTube, the amount of money you can spend on camera gear and everything, it's like, holy cow.
So when I'm doing like moving shots, I use the gimbal here for the ZV-1.
Gotcha. I bet that's really nice.
Yeah, it's nice for sure, but they do get expensive.
Oh yeah. It's so interesting because whenever I first got my Insta360, I wasn't sure how like I felt about it because the editing was pretty wonky because it's a 360 camera, right? Yeah. And I didn't really care for it. And then it finally clicked that I can put that on and just go. Whereas like with my GoPro, if it's up or down a little too much, the entire shot's ruined, right?
Yeah.
So if you notice in my trail videos, I typically have someone in front of me now, and it's because I'm using the Insta360 and I do the auto track around him. I draw the box around him.
Okay.
And whoever it is, I say, hey, make sure you wear a bright colored t-shirt for me. So I got someone in front of me, which is, in my opinion, more fun footage than just straight POV anyhow.
Yeah.
And then the Insta360s doing the awesome, following them and stuff. And I really like that a lot. I think it's terrific.
Yeah. And I will say with the GoPro, I use the mod.
Yeah, I got that on mine.
Yeah, so that does help if you get the angle just a little bit off. Like I know generally I usually film with a chin mount on my full face helmet.
Yep.
I generally know the angle, but sometimes you will hit like a branch or something and it gets knocked, and all of a sudden like you're just looking straight down or straight up. Well, there's like an hour of footage I can't use.
Oh, and man, that's happened to me way more times than I want to admit. And then I feel like I get home and I start to edit and I just feel defeated. And I'm like, well, there goes that video.
Yeah, and I gotta be more aware, like if I'm taking a break on the trails, to look at the footage on the angle on the GoPro. I'm like, oh, okay, this is not correct.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll switch helmets and go to one helmet to another, and the angle is just not quite the same. Yeah, it's always something with.
Oh yeah, it's
with action sports. Like it's hard to get it when you're doing the action and you're trying to film it as well.
Yeah, and like for me, like I actually had someone message me the other day on Instagram, and he was talking. He's like, "Hey, I was watching your video with my daughter, and it's just funny. I noticed you just like never stop talking, but you're usually not rambling. Like you're usually saying something that like adds some form of value."
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I appreciate that. But then I've also noticed when I trail ride, I do the same thing. Like there's not many snippets of me not talking.
Yeah. And do you find like I will talk to the camera sometimes or talk to the audience,
Yeah.
Do you find it like weird or like kind of awkward when you're like riding by like hikers or whatever and you're like talking to yourself? Like,
100%. Like that dude thinks I'm crazy. Or
yeah,
like I'll be like in the intro like at Griffin Bike Park and I'll be like, hey everybody, this is Josh with Chicken Sendies, because like I don't want to bother people. So I'm like whispering. Then I just feel like I look like even more of a creep.
like,
it's literally just a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I thought this was a good idea.
And has anybody recognized you like a stranger like on the trails before?
So this is hysterical to me. Rich was recognized as the guy from Chicken Sendies.
Yeah, because like it's so funny when you record somebody a lot. And
so he was talking. He's like, "Hey, you're the guy that runs that Chicken Sendies channel, right?" He's like, "No, that's Josh. I'm just in a lot of his videos."
Yeah.
But the one time I recall being recognized was actually, I guess I will say a fan's wife recognized me.
Oh, wow.
So we were at Shepherd Mountain Bike Park and we were riding, and we were taking the shuttle up to the top, and this girl saw my bike and she's like, because I have very unique bikes, right? Like I treat bikes like a lot of people treat like cars, in the sense of like, modding them out and just having super fun and just making them stand out. And this lady's like, seen that bike before. I was like, have you really? She's like, yeah, I think it's on a YouTube channel my husband watches. And I go, your husband watches Chicken Sendies? She's like, yeah, that's it. I go, yeah, that's me. But it was so funny to me. And like, I'm really bad about like self-promoting. Like, I don't like doing it. It's just like not in my nature to do. So Rich forced me to give him a stack of stickers. So he's like my PR guy when we go out, and like I won't ever say anything. He'd be like, make sure you watch Chicken Sendies. And I'm just like, Rich, like, stop. It kills me.
He's your hype man.
He is, literally. He is my best bud. If I had a book bag, I would carry him around in it everywhere.
Yeah, Johnny was saying the Santa shreds.
He does, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, I was seeing you guys, one of your, I think, latest videos, you guys were riding somewhere. He was testing out the bike.
Yeah, the Polygon. We did that at Griffin.
Yeah.
He stopped me. So we were riding this morning, and he goes, I got stopped by someone, and they wanted to make sure that I wasn't lying over that Polygon video to make sure it was actually good. And I go, you tell him I gave you a couple $100 to say like good things about the bike?
It's like, yeah. Nice. That's awesome. And okay, we're about at an hour. You still got just a little bit more time?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Nice. I mean, we won't go too much longer, but
no worries.
Anybody that's in the chat that has a question for Jocelyn about the channel and all that good stuff, just pop it up in the chat. We'll get it up there. I know Johnny and a couple others have been piping up in the chat about a few things. Johnny's so awesome, by the way.
Oh yeah. I'm actually going to Florida the first week of June, but I kind of forget like mentally how big Florida actually is.
Yeah.
And it would have been still like an extra 8 to 10 hours to go see him. And I was like,
I used to live in Jacksonville for a little while, and just to get that down to Miami is, that's a day trip. Trumpet Meddy's asking, how did you become such a good YouTuber, Josh?
Well, like, that kind of goes back to me being like my own worst critic. I definitely consider myself like a subpar YouTuber. I would say I don't know. I try to get like on a relatable level, right? I don't necessarily try to like, I don't know necessarily the right word for it. I just like, I'm just another dude who's just trying to make videos and enjoy life and share knowledge, even if it's been mistakes that I've made with people. And I think that's kind of something people appreciate. They when they see me in public and we talk, like, I'm just a dude and I'm a silly dude and we're going to have fun and get along.
Yeah. And I love your silliness. That's kind of how I am. Once you get to know me, I'm a little more silly than serious. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to open up to people, but once I'm kind of like you, like if you was to like see me on the trails and kind of like see like the real me, I'm kind of like you. I just don't let it out as much as probably you do.
I'm pretty unashameful about it. Sometimes it's a little much, honestly, especially for the wife. Like, she'll nudge me.
Yeah, I want to say hi to my buddy here, Philly.
How's it going, Phil?
If I don't know if he's usually either in Switzerland or Austria or Germany. Hey, Phil, where are you at right now?
That's awesome. So does he travel for work then necessarily, or is it?
Yeah, that's where he lives. That's where he's from, that area.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm trying my best to actually get him on the show here. Time difference wise, we're quite a bit time difference wise, but
say, was that like 6 to 8 hours, or is it longer than that even?
Like 9 hours probably.
Is it? I figured it'd be close.
Yeah. And so it's always weird for us in Arizona because we can't really say we're like right now we're lined up with Pacific time, but sometimes we're lined up with Mountain time. So we're actually, because we don't switch daylight saving.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So I can't really say, hey, we're doing the podcast on Pacific time, West Coast time, because we flip back and forth.
Yeah.
Because we stay the same. Like everybody else flips, but we don't.
I'm glad you shared. Whenever you asked me to be on this the chat with you, and then you said that I was 2 hours ahead of you, I'm like, that's good to know because I really probably wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah. And I was like, well, let me think about this for a second. So he's in Germany right now, and it is 4:34 here at the moment. So
Yeah, geez. That makes me think of oh, I can't think of his name. He lives in Finland. He's such a good dude.
Fractured.
Say it again.
Is it Fractured Rider?
Yeah, thank you. Fractured. Fractured has been on Chicken Sendies since like the beginning.
Oh, nice.
And we talk all the time on Instagram, but it's so funny because, yeah, thank you. Yeah, Johnny said it too. But it's so funny to me because he's always sending me pictures of Finland and they just have like 3 foot of snow still every day. And it's just like, holy cow, dude.
Jarno, yeah, Jarno.
He is one of the best dudes. He is so fun to talk to. And it's cool because, you know, and that's one of my favorite things about the channel is, you know, a lot of the people that have been there since the beginning, they still comment on the channel and stuff. And that's pretty special to me to know that, you know, they've been there since, you know, 50 to 100 subscribers. And so that's pretty cool.
Nice. Do you ever have like a kind of a goal to ever get to, like with your YouTube channel? Like whether it is, I wouldn't necessarily say subscribers because they are what they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to think like, well, what's, 5,000? What's the next step? 10,000?
Yeah. So my personal goal, which I've always shared with my wife, I said, if this ever happens, this means I've made it. And like my overall goal, which I've shared this in my videos, but the Polygon they sent me, I have to send back. It was specifically a review bike.
Yeah.
The day I get a bike sent to me that I get to keep, that will be the day where I'll be like, I did it.
I made it.
Yeah, that's my personal, like, and I don't even care if it's a kid bike. That's fine. It's just a bike that is mine.
Yeah. And, I know a lot of those companies, they do we send it to you, we let you borrow it, but like we never ask for it back type thing. I think it has something to do with taxes or something.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what it is.
It's like, well, we don't know what happened to that bike. Like,
I got lost overseas.
That's awesome, man. It's so good to see somebody small doing good on YouTube. I've always struggled with it. Sometimes I think it goes good, and sometimes I'm like, I just taking a 6-month break from this, and now I'm back into it now, and I've kind of been refreshed a little bit too with doing this podcast stuff.
Yeah,
that's helped me out. So, and I'm actually been working on quite a few like long form, like very detailed videos. And one of the reasons that I got a little like discouraged from it, because I had like 100 clips of footage of something I was doing, and I thought I had lost it. And I thought I got I deleted off a external hard drive, but I just found it the other day. I'm like, oh, there's that like 100 clips of footage.
So it's go time.
Yeah, back in like all the way back in September.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, now I have this footage again. Now I can like start working on this video again.
Yeah, that would be pretty disheartening, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, because I spent like a lot of time, and it's a very detailed video. What it has to do is it's up on Mount Lemmon. There's a trail we ride called Prison Camp. The technical name for it is actually Molino Basin. It's part of the Arizona Trail. Each section of the Arizona Trail, Arizona Trail is 800 miles, runs through all of Arizona.
Holy cow, yeah.
Yeah, but each section, so there might be a section that's 10 miles long, and that has a name. And so there's a section called Prison Camp, but the real name for it's Molino Basin. But the reason it's called that is because in the late 1940s, early 50s, it was a Japanese internment camp.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and the reason it's named after that is because of an individual named Gordon Hirabayashi. That's what the campground is named after, because he was in internment there for just a little while, and he fought it court case years ago. He ended up winning the court case. Pretty much because the government said, oh yeah, that was probably illegal that we did that to you guys. And
probably just a little.
Yeah. So I was doing a whole video about the history of all that. And it's a huge history, like goes all the way back.
It's almost like a documentary.
Yeah, it's almost like it is pretty much a documentary. But
That's really cool, honestly, especially because it involves mountain biking and some pretty significant history.
well, and when you ride by it, the remnants of that old prison camp is still there. Now it's just all like foundations and stuff. It's all
Yeah.
new, but there's a history there. There's like some placards, some billboards and stuff that are there. But there's a whole history there, and I did a lot of research on it, and it goes all the way back. You know, there's reasons they did what they did, why they think they justified it, and all the way up to him beating the court case in I think 87 or something like that. I'll have to research. It is in the 80s. Anyways, they said, "Oh, our bad," you know, type deal.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, well, there's a whole other history. It gets kind of complex, actually.
Yeah.
And I had maybe 100 clips of like footage
Jeez.
that I thought was lost for like months. It was kind of just depressing. And I just recently found it because I was going through some like old external hard drives. I'm like, all right, let me see what's on this. I'm like, hey, there's my footage. I'm like, I thought I was missing that for like the last couple months. And that's why I say, like, sometimes like this video, it'll take, probably 40, 50 hours of editing time I'm done.
Yeah, that's a lot of clips though, man. 100, holy cow.
Yeah, of 100, you might use 20, 25.
Yeah.
Because there's drone footage in it. There's, because doing aerial shots, like here, I'll show on the camera here. Which camera is it? Is it this one? So right there's the drone right there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's a Skydio 2, so it's a follow cam drone. So pretty much you just hook a beacon to your bike and it just follows the beacon. So as you
that's cool.
And out here, of course, like we don't have like a lot of foliage.
Yeah.
So we can launch a drone up in the air and generally, and it's what's it called?
Is that the Skydio or Skidio? Is that what that's called?
Yeah, that's the Skydio 2 Plus. Yeah,
I know.
And it has obstacle avoidance, so like you don't. If it since it's just going to hit a tree or a cactus, it'll just fly around it.
Yeah, I remember watching Riding Dirty like 2 years ago. He was doing reviews over that thing.
Yeah, and I think he had the original Skydio 2.
Okay.
The Skydio 2 Plus, they made a lot of corrections on it. I don't know if he ever got that one or did that one. So now Skydio, at least as far as I know, about a month ago, they do not sell direct to the public anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. So they were used for action sports, whether it be snowboarding, skiing, mountain biking. Their tracking technology. Have you lost the drone? But their tracking technology and optical avoidance got so good, the government contracts came in, law enforcement, firefighter,
yeah,
crews, military. So now that's strictly what they do is they do government agencies. So they don't really sell, at least as far as I know, in the last month or two. They don't sell direct to the public anymore. It's just all these like huge government contracts.
I mean, it's probably smart on their part to grab those contracts and be guaranteed those units sold.
Yeah, you're talking about millions upon millions.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're laughing their way to the bank right now. But I mean, it sounds like they've earned it. I mean, they've worked on the technology and perfected it in a sense. So
yeah, I know a lot of firefighter units. They use those, and not though that type of drone. They actually have specific drones for different types, whether it be law enforcement, firefighting, military. They're developing all kind of that stuff specifically for that.
A lot of them around here, they'll get the FPV goggles, and they actually load their drones with thermal imaging cameras. So, like, if we have runaways, we'll fly it over the field, and we can actually use the thermal cameras to look for people running in fields and such.
And that's what Skydio is. They got their thermal stuff down, a lot of stuff that's actually sensitive, and some of it's even classified.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I do want to go back real quick to a question. I saw that Johnny asked, anyone going to Bentonville? I'm actually going to Bentonville the end of this month, but I think I'm missing you, Johnny, barely by like a couple days.
When's Johnny going?
I think Johnny's going here one of the weekends towards the end. I saw him comment and say that he's going. I'm pretty sure he's going to Bentonville here soon. But I was looking at the date, and me and a couple buds are going the last like Tuesday to Friday of the month. So I can't recall the dates off the top of my head.
Next month?
The end of this month, so in like a week and a half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm missing Bike Fest.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going the weekdays after Bike Fest is when I'm going. So I was pretty sure I was missing Johnny barely, which I was really disappointed in.
Which I might. He's 23rd, 20 through 26th.
Ooh,
I think
maybe one of our days will overlap. It'll be close. I have to look because I think mine. Yeah, I would look on my calendar, but it's on my phone, and I don't want to mess up the live feed.
Yeah. I haven't met Johnny in person, but if he gets out to Ride and Shine out in California at Sky Park, I'm going to try to get out there for that in July, which is July 13th. Johnny, are you still coming to Ride and Shine, do you think?
And I'd love to do something. I'd love to join you guys for that. I'd have to fly out, and I'd probably rent a bike, honestly, and just call it a day.
Yeah. I mean, it's maybe like a 8-9 hour drive for us, but like we just put the bikes on the bike rack and
yeah.
But anybody like that's out where you're at or like East Coast, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
It's like me trying to get to Florida or even to Bentonville. That's quite a trek.
Yeah, and we were so my birthday is July 15th, and we were supposed to be going to Howler that weekend is what we were planning on doing. But now since we're probably going to be going to Whistler at the end of July, we've actually canceled the Howler trip as far as I can tell. So I think I'll trade Howler for Whistler, though I'm pretty excited to head over to the BC and ride up there. It's like, one of my dreams. It's like Disney World for us on bike.
Yeah, Whistler is always the mecca for mountain biking.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, honestly. I really am. You watch the videos and stuff, and it's like, man, it's going to be some gnarly stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But I'll definitely get some fun footage of that, and it's just going to be Rich and I. So it's just going to be a fun bro date for us.
So how many days are you guys going?
We'll be there. We're going to be there 5 days. So we're going to fly in. We're going to ride for 3 days and fly back home. We were talking about staying longer, but we were just concerned about getting just too exhausted, especially if we end up riding super hard for 3 days. We figured that'd be good enough. And then, he's got a family too. And we don't want to be away from them, any more than we need to be. Or, it's kind of hard when you got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, especially on the wife. So,
and Johnny was mentioning the indoor bike park is his dream. I know you had a video going out to Rays, right?
Oh, Rays is so stinking terrific. I love Rays. It is one of my absolute favorite things to do during the wintertime.
And of course, like me being from Ohio, I'm flying back to Ohio about 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Probably get up there. So there used to be, it was a more of a BMX park at the time. It was called Chango World.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually a skate park now. But
I'm down.
Yeah. So it's an indoor, very much similar to Rays, but the OG of that was called Chango World. And so I grew up doing BMX freestyle.
Okay.
Is my background. And so I went to that park a few times. Rays reminds me very much of Chango World, the original Chango World.
We have a which I don't know if mediocre. I'm surely mediocre knows this, but there's a town about 2 hours from me called Quincy, Illinois, and they're in the process of making something similar to Rays, but it's called Fast Tracks. So it's going to be another indoor bike park, but it's not. It's going to be closer. It'll be in Illinois, and they're making some pretty good progress. I think it's ended up taking a little bit longer than they were expecting, but I've been following it on Facebook and stuff, and I think it's PHASTTRAX, Fast Tracks, spelled kind of funky. But I'm not sure when it's going to actually be done. But a lot of the little snippets and stuff I've seen, it looks pretty stinking cool. And I'm pretty excited that's going to be closer because Rays is about 6.5 hour drive for me. So not super crazy, but it's a decent drive.
That's up near Cleveland, Cuyahoga County area, right?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Rays is near Cuyahoga County, like Cleveland area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where Changa World was. Well, and still is. It's just changed a
Gotcha.
little bit. Yeah. Then I know Medi was saying, yeah, he wants to go to Ray's.
It's so stinking, especially because you know how the winter is around here. Being able to have an option for like the weather doesn't affect is pretty nice. I mean, it's pretty fortunate to have it, and it's not super close, but close enough to be able to go and make it a weekend trip. And we usually, we share an Airbnb with a couple guys, and it makes it pretty reasonably priced, and we'll go and just ride all day. And the place is awesome, and it's got stuff for everybody, whether you're a new rider to real fun big jumps. And one of my favorite things about the place was last year they moved the lockers, but I found the mediocre mountain biker sticker on one of the lockers, and I did like a little video of it.
I mean, he was saying Pittsburgh also has an indoor park.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So can you shed some light on that? Because I don't know about that.
No, I don't know anything about that. Yeah, that's mediocre. We'll have to share that. I don't know about the Pittsburgh one.
Yeah, I'm asking him.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens in Quincy. I think they're going to do a good job, and it'll be closer, which will be real nice. So.
And that's the would you call the fast tracks, or what was it?
Yep, fast tracks. So.
Okay, so it's is that how it's spelled? Was it PHASST tracks?
I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've actually heard of the wheel mill. We wanted to stop, but every time we talk about going to the wheel mill, it's after we've been at Ray's and we're all just destroyed from riding so hard the day before. Yeah. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but it's only BMX bikes or it's biking, right? Like almost like a skate park. I could be wrong on that, but I know I've heard the wheel mill.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know because I mean, don't hear of too many indoor parks like that. And I'm surprised, like Ray's, being for mountain bikes. I think there's probably BMX bikes there as well, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's got a little like skate park BMX section as well, if that's all you want to specifically do. And yeah, so I know Rich has been to the wheel mill quite a few times, and I know he always recommends it. Like I've never been myself, but anytime we head that way, he always talks about wanting to stop there and hit it. So I mean, it must be pretty good.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'll have to check out a video or two on it. And he's asking, does Chicago have the best hot dogs?
Oh, I say anytime you can go to Potero's, you're good.
Potero's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got good hot dogs.
So out here, we have what's called a Sonoran dog.
Okay.
It's kind of the famous hot dog out here. Like everybody has their regional hot dog pizza.
Yeah.
But out here, we're in the Sonoran Desert. Yeah, so the Sonoran dog is a thing out here for sure. So a lot of mountain biking events, they will have somebody that has a grill that will bust out the Sonoran dogs.
That's awesome.
And either that or burritos, tacos. It's a thing out here.
Yeah. we primarily celebrate Taco Tuesdays here.
Yeah. As the missus is saying, there's hot dogs with bacon, basically.
Hey, bacon on anything's fine.
Yeah, bacon usually makes everything better, right?
Checks out.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, Josh. Is there anything you want to add? Please plug all your socials.
Yeah, so pretty straightforward. Chicken Sendies on Facebook. I believe it's chicken.sendies on Instagram and Chicken Sendies on TikTok. So I got something for everything. I mean, I'm very grateful you asked me to be on, and I appreciate you reaching out. And I love doing this kind of stuff and just chatting and talking. It's one of my favorite things about the whole social media aspect. So, but no, I'm super grateful, and I appreciate your time and allowing me to hang out and talk.
Awesome. And obviously, thank you for what you do as a fellow first responder myself. I know it's not always an easy job, so thank you, and thank you to your wife for putting up with all the YouTube stuff.
He definitely puts up with some stuff.
All right, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Okay.
Of course. Take care. Thank you.
And good luck with the channel. Keep it on, my man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Good night.